Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a book haul, but with a twist. For every book that I purchased, I have to find a book to unhaul. For this haul, I'm having a one in, one out method. I wasn't really purchasing a lot of books leading up to my move, but now that I have moved, I've settled, I've unpacked, I've been treating myself to some new books. But I do know that there are some recently that I've read or DNF'd that I could get rid of. So for every book that I haul in this video, I have to unhaul something. I'm not going to be unhauling from my TBR. I'm going to be unhauling from things that I have already read that I either didn't care for, or I DNF'd, or I just don't really think I need a physical copy anymore. So we're just going to start. I'm going to show you the books that I've purchased, and then for each one, I will tell you what I am unhauling. I have The Raven and the Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. This was one of the Illumicrate books, which actually I had skipped Illumicrate for I think like a year. I'm actually surprised that they did not cancel my subscription because I'd been skipping a lot, but this one sounded really good. This one is about a competition, and everyone in the competition has a like animal companion, I think. So you have a fox, a raven, a tiger, ox, bear, monkey, hound, and a dragon. But it says then one of them is murdered, and the main character has to investigate but also try to win the competition. It sounds very fun, and I have been seeing really good reviews for this. The naked hardcover has a dog on it. Lots of animals, but specifically the dog speaks to me. The first book that I'm going to unhaul is Wolfsong by TJ Klune. I was very disappointed in this book. I did end up DNFing it. I just felt for me the age gap in the romance was too big, especially considering for everything that I read in this book, the love interest was a child while the main character was like an upper teenager. So the dynamic just felt weird, and I knew once it got to like the actual romantic relationship, I just would feel very weird about it. So I DNF'd this, unfortunately, and I definitely don't need a copy of it. Next is another Illumicrate book, The Song of Legends Lost. This one is an epic fantasy about a long war that has been going on. The warriors who are fighting can summon their ancestors to help them fight, but then the main character, who is a commoner, accidentally summons an ancestor and can hold the key to ending a centuries-long war. The artwork in this one looks crazy. Who is this bald man holding an impaled person? That's crazy. Oh my god, I also realized he's missing an arm. This sounds good. Next time I'm in the mood for like a really long, chunky fantasy, I will probably read one of these. All right, the next unhaul is going to be The Wicked and the Willing by Lian Yu Tan. This is a book that I thought had so much potential for me. It is a sapphic vampire book set in the 1920s Singapore. It sounded like it was gonna be amazing, and I was actually even enjoying it in the beginning. Like the vibes were really cool, but it got really weird. Specifically one chapter in particular, I think you can see where that chapter happens. I like left my bookmark in it and I just never picked the book back up. But there's specifically one chapter where you're reading a very smutty scene, like very smutty, very explicit, very like sexually descriptive, but it is sexual assault, and it's from the point of view of the assaulter. It made me so uncomfortable because I felt like this book didn't know if it was horror, if it was romance. It was trying to pass off something very horrific as romantic and sexy and spicy and smutty, and that just did not work for me. I felt very uncomfortable while I was reading it. Like that assault scene made me so uncomfortable. I just immediately quit. Next, I have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, which I am so excited about. I recently read her Shepherd King duology and I loved it, so I have been very excited about this. I have technically started reading it. I'm still like very much in the beginning, but this one is following a group of, I think they're nuns, sort of. They're like in a monastery. It's a group of girls who are in a monastery, and they are prophets, so they can like tell people's future. And like the prince or a knight shows up who needs his future read, and the main character reads it. I don't remember much else besides that. I know there's a gargoyle, a talking gargoyle. I just remember the vibes being very cool. I started reading this right before I moved, and then I ended up putting it down. I do need to get back to it. My next unhaul is Dusk or Dark or Dawn or Day a title that makes my brain hurt every time I say it. This is by Seanan McGuire. It is a ghost book. This is probably the most disappointed I've ever been in a Seanan McGuire book. I really did not enjoy this. It did not really make any sense. Like, there was just so much gaps in logic. It was very boring. Like, I don't know, I just did not like that. This did not feel like Seanan McGuire to me. Next, I have When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. This one's actually on my TBR for this month, so I will be reading this very soon. This is a horror book about this woman who comes across this 5-year-old boy who is running from his father. That is all I know about it. It says that it's an adrenaline-fueled horror where darkest fears can become reality. And I've heard nothing but amazing, amazing things about this. I think this might be the next book that I pick up. I'm really in the mood for like a super fast-paced book that's gonna keep me on the edge of my seat, and I feel like this could be that. I loved Mary by Nat Cassidy. That was one of my favorite horror books of all time, so I do have very high hopes for this. All right, next on haul is We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix, which I am very sad to be unhauling this. I do love this edition of it, but I found this book to be incredibly boring, which is crazy because I feel like if you describe the synopsis, it sounds so crazy and interesting. I found it boring. I did not like it. It's not the worst Grady Hendrix book that I've read, but when I'm looking at a lineup of all of his books, this one was just, it was fine. It was not as bad as The Puppet, but it's nowhere near My Best Friend's Exorcism, so I really don't need to hold on to it. Next, I have Providence Girls by Morgan Dante. This is a sapphic horror novel, obviously about mermaids or sirens, about a main character who almost dies in the wilderness, and she's saved by this mysterious woman who has gills in her neck and who starts to physically change into a creature of the eldritch deep. Can their love survive an incomprehensible and monstrous transformation? You combine horror, sapphic, and mermaids. I will be reading it. Next on haul is Till Death Do Us Bard by Rose Black. This is another book that was just very disappointing to me. I really thought I was gonna love it. It is a cozy fantasy and this cover is stunning. I just found it to be very poorly written, very boring. I feel like the world building really was lacking. I don't know. I have found him very hit or miss with cozy fantasy, despite the fact that I love it so, so much. Actually finding ones that I think are good is tough. Next, I have A Witch's Guide to Magical Inkeeping by Sanju Mandana, which is a book that I have been eagerly anticipating for so long because I loved her first book, Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and this book kept getting pushed back, so I'm very excited to read this. They're like cozy fantasy with like a little bit of romance in them. This one says it's about a witch who has a second chance to get her magical powers and her life back on track, and she runs an enchanted inn. Enter Luke Larson, a handsome and icy magical historian. It sounds like it's gonna be the perfect beginning of fall read. My next on haul is Love on the Brain by Allie Hazelwood. This one I did DNF because I got quite a ways into it and I swear I could not tell if this was just a love hypothesis again or if it was actually a new book. I know it's been a long time since I read The Love Hypothesis, but I was like, is this not the same story with kind of the same characters doing kind of the same things? like to me it just felt like copy paste, we're just telling the same story again. So I don't think that this particular series of Allie Hazelwood is for me. Y'all know I loved Bride. I will be reading the next book in that series when that comes out, but this, not for me. Next, I have A Drop in Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is the sequel to The Tainted Cup, which I read earlier in the year and loved it. This is also on my TBR for this month, so I will be getting to this very soon. I mean, I feel like I've talked about this series in almost every video that I've done this whole year, but basically it is a fantasy murder mystery series with a lot of Sherlock and Watson vibes to it. It is super, super fun. I'm very excited to read the sequel. I've heard that it's even better than the first book, which I don't know how that's possible, but I'm excited to find out. My next unhaul is Burn the Dark by S.A. Hunt. This is a book about this YouTuber who does like paranormal investigation, ghost hunting videos. I wanted to love this so bad. However, the writing is so cringe. It was so cringe. I just couldn't. I think I only read one chapter and I was like, No, 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 not for me. The amount of times that I cringed just in the first chapter, it was too much. It was too much. So I will be getting rid of this. And next I got another book that's on my TBR this month. That is Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reed. This is supposed to be kind of like a sapphic Hunger Games. Honestly, when I read the synopsis, it sounds to me like it's Katniss, Joanna, Hunger Games fanfiction, which, you know, that was my ship. That was my ship as a teenager, so that makes me so excited. But basically, it's about the Lamb's Gauntlet, which is a live-streamed assassination spectacle. And the main character, her mother, is in a lot of debt, so she offers her up as this year's lamb sacrifice. Kind of what it sounds like is that whoever's chosen as the lamb, like everyone else that's in the Lamb's Gauntlet is like trying to kill that one person versus like killing each other. I don't know, I could be wrong. But the other girl in the book is someone who has survived a previous gauntlet. It sounds so good. I cannot wait to read this. The next one I'm hauling, I'm really sad about. I have not talked about in my videos, but that is The Last Sun by Katie Edwards. Every time that I talk about this in a video, I get a bunch of comments from people saying like, oh my god, I love that book. That's my favorite book. Unfortunately, I did not like it. I read like half of it and I couldn't do it anymore. I could not. For me, there was just way too much like cringe teenage boy humor. Like the amount of jokes where the punchline was dicks. Far too many dicks for me. The way that the two main characters talked was just so like crass. Boy humor. Boy humor is like the only way that I can describe it, and I just was not into it. If I really cared enough, I would go through and count how many dick jokes there were, because there was an insane amount, but I don't hate myself, so I won't. The next book is The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. I'm pretty sure this is also on my TBR this month. You guys might notice a theme. When I'm buying books, I'm trying to read them very, very soon after I buy them, as to not have them sitting on my shelves for a super long time. So a lot of my newest purchases are on my TBR this month. So this one you've probably heard about a lot recently too in my videos, but this is a medieval horror book about cannibalistic nuns. It sounds wild. I love Caitlin Starling. I've read The Luminous Dead and The Death of Jane Lawrence and really enjoyed both of those books, so I am very excited for this one. The next book I am unhauling is also very disappointing, and that is The God of Endings by Jacqueline Holland. I thought this was gonna be so good. The way that it's kind of described is like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, but a vampire story, and that just intrigued me so much, but it's so boring. It's so boring, so slow. And listen, like, I love a slow book. This was too slow, too boring. I did not care. I couldn't finish it. I actually was reading this for like 2 whole months and I still couldn't finish it. All the next books in my haul I have already read. So I have books 2 and 5 in the Awakens series. If you watched my trying to catch up to my Goodreads goal video, I read this entire 5-book series over that weekend, and I'd already owned books 1 and 3. So I purchased books 2, 4, and 5, but 4 has not come yet. I was ordering them all on Pango Books. So I have 2 and I have 5, almost have the whole completed series. But basically this is a very fun fantasy romance series about elemental magic, and I really enjoyed it. It's not like the best thing in the world, but it was so addictive. Like, I could not put it down. I have not binged a series like this in years. I will be unhauling Alice by Christina Henry, who is an author that I really love, and I definitely didn't dislike this book. I finished it, I gave it 3 stars, but it's not super memorable to me when I really love her books. This one just sort of fell flat. I think the idea was very cool. It is a retelling of Alice in Wonderland in this really sort of like industrial revolution fantasy-ish world. When I think about enjoying this book, I don't know if I actually enjoyed the book or if I just liked the potential that it had to be interesting. But yeah, of all of her books that I read, this is definitely the worst one, and I won't be continuing the series. I think there's like a 2nd and 3rd book. The next book I will be unhauling is So Happy For You. This is a like satirical look at female friendship, weddings. I hated every second of it. I don't know if I've ever read a book where I wanted the characters to die more. Like, The whole book is about this friendship between these two women and sort of like the toxicity of their friendship, and they were both the worst characters I've ever read about, and I just wanted them both to die. I think part of it might even be that I don't particularly enjoy satire, but yeah, this was just one of the most frustrating books. Like, I got angry, frustrated, annoyed. I actually threw this book across the room while I was reading it, which is not something that I normally do, so definitely don't need to hold on to that. Next, I have The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. I had to get this beautiful collector's edition of it. It is stunning. Like, look at the eye patch. Oh my God, it's beautiful. And wait, it's not even the best part. Not even the best part. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, if that does not make you want to read the book, I don't know what will. This one is a fantasy about pagan magic, a sentient forest with monsters in it, an enemies to lovers romance, like true enemies to lovers where they are constantly trying to kill each other. Ugh, it was just so good. I don't know why I did it like this. Oh, and mamma mia, it was so good. I don't know why I did that. My next unhaul is going to be The Lies of Lamura by Scott Lynch, which is crazy because I've owned this book, I think, since I was a freshman in college. So it's been a good 10 years that I've had this. And I did give this 3 stars. I didn't hate it, but I don't think I'm gonna continue the series, and I just didn't love it enough to hold on to it any longer. This has been living on my shelves for a whole decade, and it's time for you to go. Next, I have An Island Princess Starts a Scandal by Adriana Herrera. This is a sapphic historical romance that I thought was really cute. It takes place in the 1800s in Paris, and it's about the main character who is about to be married off to a man, and she kind of wants to have like one last hurrah, and she meets this woman and has her like take her through Paris to introduce her to like all the lesbians of Paris, essentially, and then they fall in love, and it was very cute. I will say it was like a little slow at times, but if you're looking for a sapphic historical romance with a lot of yearning and slow burn, I would definitely recommend this one. The last book that I'm going to be unhauling is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, which is another book that has been on my shelves for basically a decade, and this one I actually did not like. I don't think that this series is for me. I have been listening to you guys. I had a lot of people reach out to me when I said that I read this and did not like it, and most people kind of consulted me that the series is probably not for me and I should just stop. So I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna take that. I'm definitely in the minority. Very unpopular opinion, I just found this super boring, and unfortunately I just don't think Robin Hobb is for me. Here are all the books that I have decided to unhaul to make room for all of my new books. But I do have one more book to haul. All right, my last book, I'm not going to unhaul a book for this one because this was a gift, but that is Swallowed by Meg Smitherman. I also read this one in my catching up to my Goodreads goal video, and it was so fun. It's basically a horror romance about this crew who's going on an expedition to this lush, beautiful planet, but the flora and fauna of this planet is very sexually charged, and they all start to feel real weird vibes while they're there, and slowly, one by one, the crew starts to disappear. It was really fun, and I'm loving Meg Smitherman. Her books are just super entertaining. Okay, so here are all the books that I hauled. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon where I post tons of exclusive content. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!